let us take care of the business of the city. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for that. Roll call.
Councilmember McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ball,
Here.
Councilmember Tomlinson, Councilmember Pimentel,
Here.
Mayor Graham.
Here, 4 with 1 absent. Item number 5, declarations of conflicts of interest. Are there any tonight? None. Item number 6, ceremonial matters. There are none tonight. Item number 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Anybody wishing to address the public, please go ahead. You're going to be 10A.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, community. Thank you, Gavin Klein, Congressman Duarte's office. Just want to give you all a quick update. Congressman Duarte has continued to advocate for California's 13th congressional district at our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Congressman Duarte has voted for every continuing resolution to keep government open, working for families in the 13th district. It's important that we continue addressing our government spending problem while making sure we minimize the disruptions to the federal government programs that so many of our constituents rely on here in the 13th district. We have to make better spending decisions to ensure we don't bankrupt our country's future. This was the best option available to us at the moment, but Congressman Duarte remains hopeful that the 2024 fiscal year budget will include common sense decisions on government spending to cut inflation and revive our economy. And our office had great success with our military nomination process. I had the opportunity to speak about that a couple times here. As a congressional office, we have the opportunity to hand out military nominations, service academy nominations for high school students within our district who are interested in starting their future in military as well as service. We were able to give out nominations to the United States Naval Academy, United States Air Force, United States Merchant Marine Academy, and United States Military Academy at West Point. I want to thank Mayor Graham for taking the time to be on our panel for that. We were really happy with the turnout, and we really look forward to doing the military nomination process this year. So when that time comes and we're giving out more information, I'll be sure to report that here at the Newman City Council. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. And it was an honor to be a part of that. Those kids were amazing that we interviewed. So thank you. Thank you again for coming. We greatly appreciate it. Anybody else wishing to speak tonight? All right. Item number 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the January 9th, 2024 meeting. D, adopt resolution 2024 next number. A resolution accepting the Highway 33 and Inyo Avenue intersection improvements, federal aid project, number STPL-5172, apparent 024, as complete, authorizing the city clerk to record a notice of completion with the Stanislaus County, and authorizing the city manager to make final payment of return funds to TBS contractors. And item E, adopt resolution 2024 next to number, a resolution accepting the pavement rehabilitation for Inyo Avenue and Canal School Road, federal aid project number STPL-5172, apparent 026, as complete, authorizing the city clerk to record a notice of completion with the Stanislaus County, and authorizing the city manager to make final payment of retention funds to George Reed Incorporated.
I move that we accept the consent calendar for this period.
We have a first.
I second.
We have a first and second. Go and vote electronically. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 absent. Item number 9, public hearings. There are none tonight. Item number 10. A, project update regarding the Newman Corridors Improvement and Community Connectivity Project. Grace Person, welcome.
Thank you, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and give you all a brief update of our project. Those of you who may know or may not know, we have a corridors improvement and community planning project happening in the city, led by our fearless leader who recently left us, Catherine Reyes, in the planning department. And I just wanted to be here on her behalf and share some information with you about our project, and also to extend a personal invitation to you all to join us at our planning event that we're having the first week of February, not April, February. So since June of 2023, we have convened an advisory group that is comprised of residents and community members to advise us on our outreach and engagement of the project. This group met in October 2023, and we plan to meet with them again in March this year, and then again later in the summer. We have also established a project website called newmancommunityconnections.com. I invite you all to check it out. It's pretty straightforward, newmancommunityconnections.com. We have created and distributed a community survey, and I'm sad to say it's only 49 responses, but you can find it on the project page website that I just said. So I invite you all to take it, and those who are listening, I invite you to take it if you haven't done so already. We have developed outreach materials about the project, about our charrette week, as well as the link to the survey. We have spent time at the fall soccer games. We have reached out to the Newman Resource Center. We have reached out to our advisory group network, and we've also sent out this flyer to the school district via Peach Jar. We are also in the process of developing additional project outreach flyers announcing the charrette, and are reaching out to local groups to let them know about the event and to invite them to join us. So now that I've talked about the charrette, let me tell you a little bit more about what is the charrette. That's a fancy word for a bunch of engagement activities, and we hope you all will be there with us. The first is a community workshop happening at the Memorial Building February 5th from 6 to 7:30. And that's an opportunity for community members, residents to come and learn about the project and to share information with us about what works and doesn't work in the city around getting around via walking, biking, or rolling. And I say that because sometimes people don't know active transportation as a term. So we want people who walk and bike and roll devices or whatever. We want to make it easier for them to get around the city, and we want to hear from them about their experiences trying to do that. And then during the week, which, like I said, we have the 5th, 6th, and 7th are the days that we are open to engaging with community members. And we can do interviews and listening sessions with different groups and residents and community members. We'll have open design studio time where community can come into the Memorial Building and actually see our design team working on possible solutions from the input that we have collected via the survey, as well as that community charrette. And then we'll culminate on the 7th, an open house design studio. So basically we'll have boards up for people to take a look at all the different input we received, the potential solutions that have been designed and worked on. Nothing's final, but it's just a chance for people to confirm with us that we've heard their input and that potential solutions are something that they're interested in, and give us their feedback on those solutions. So like I said, I'm inviting you all to come, and we hope to see you there on the 5th from 6 to 7:30, and then again at the open house at the end of on the 7th. Please let your friends and families and neighbors know about this event. It will really help us get community participation and involvement. So after the charrette in February, our next steps are that we would develop an administrative draft of our plan, and that we're going to meet with the advisory group to review and refine this administrative draft. And then we would meet with city staff as well to review and refine this draft. And then in the summer, we'll host a second community workshop to share out this document and to collect final input on it before we package it up. We'll revise the final administrative draft with any suggestions and edits before we present to you in the fall a version for you to review and approve. So, and the grant funding, let me just say this is funded through a Caltrans planning, community planning Sustainable Communities Planning Grant, excuse me, and the grant concludes in February 2025. Questions?
That's it? Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So there's going to be community input. How are you going to go about notifying the community? What is the process that you're going to have?
So right now we're doing a lot of personal outreach through, like I said, I was We went to the soccer games in the fall. I was working with Ali Mendoza, your recreation department director, to leverage her networks of outreach, connecting with the partners group here of the different resources in Newman, flyers through Peach Jar, advertising in the newspaper, different community groups. So that's how we're trying to get the word out, is through social media posts. We have our project website, and distribution flyers.
Because I think that's very important that the community has their input on it, and that's what makes a successful project, when the community, embraces it.
The goal is to have a community-driven plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, no actions needed, because it's just an update. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time,
You have a
everyone.
great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10B, approval of 3 agreements to continue implementation of Sustainable Groundwater Management Act.
Thank you, Mayor. As you can see on the screen here, we do have 3 agreements tonight. So this really goes back to the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act that was approved by the state in September of 2014. In order to comply with that act, the City of Newman elected to form our own independent groundwater sustainable agency, and we did that in 2016. In 2018, we joined together with other GSAs, groundwater sustainability agencies like CCID and Gustine and Dos Palos, and everybody here in what we call the Delta Mendota Basin and subbasin. And so we elected to work together. And so we had our individual groundwater sustainable plan, and they had all theirs too, and we all kind of linked those together. And then we ultimately submitted that to the state as one big document. And then they were all linked together with a common thread. Of course, the state doesn't give any guidance when they say they want to do a sustainable groundwater management plan and act. So they bounced them all back. We made revisions, and then they said, no, that's not good enough. So now, instead of doing one document with multiple groundwater sustainability plans, there's going to be one big plan. The trick on that is you got to talk the same language, you got to use the same metrics, you got to collect the same data, right? And so in order to do all of that, we need to amend our original agreement that we had with the exchange contractors and all the agencies that we're going to be partnering with. So we're going to do that in the first agreement there. The second agreement is where we use exchange contractors. That's an agency out of Los Banos, and they just kind of like an overarching and use their expertise, and then they're going to bring everybody together and use their resources to collect all that, and this is giving them authority to collect that and to utilize that data. And then also there's a mechanism for sharing how we're going to share the benefits and expenses that are done by that authority. And then lastly, there's a final agreement, which is amending the original agreement that we have, the MOU that we have with all the other agencies there. Again, it talks about how we're all going to work together to achieve a sustainable groundwater. We're going to have successful coordination between us and the contractors and the other cities and agencies. We're going to try to avoid conflicts between one agency and their language they're using and how they measure their data versus how we measure ours. So we're going to come up with a standard set of data points that are going to be collected and how we're going to measure those and what language we're going to use. And there's a lot of complex, as you can just imagine. If you ask 5 hydrologists, how do you measure the water there? They're all going to give you different ways. So we're going to simplify that. And then lastly, we're going to we have a mechanism for establishing how and who's going to coordinate the meetings, who's going to represent who, and we're going to give people authority to overarch, because you have to, you can't take 40 partners to one coordination meeting. So you have representatives from each different area. And then we have, lastly, as part of it, it's going to talk about how we pay for it and our fair share, our pro rata fair share. Last time we paid 1% of the cost. So we anticipate that that's going to be our fair share this time, approximately 1% of the cost of putting this new plan together. So we suspect it's probably going to take 18 to 24 months to get a plan together and resubmit that to the state. So So tonight, I'm asking you to go ahead and authorize me as the city manager and the representative here to execute these 3 agreements as they're spelled out on there. The memorandum of agreement among the groundwater sustainability agencies, like I said, that coordinates everything together, the special project agreement for the single plan, and then lastly, the first amendment to the MOU that we have with the San Joaquin River Exchange contractors. So.
And does our news project, does that play into it at all and part of our plan?
It does, because through our news project, we're going to be enhancing the groundwater by putting more groundwater in there and clean groundwater in there. So it's a metric that we get to count as a credit towards our community. So that's how that works.
Good deal.
So I was listening at you, and I'm glad to hear, that the different cities, and especially Gustine and other cities that are in different counties, we're coming together. My question is to you, Michael. Once the committee is put together, are you guys going to meet quarterly, or are you going to try to meet, let's say, once a year, or what? Do you have something in mind in terms of?
There'll be a more intensive group that meets monthly. And then there's the next group that meets quarterly. And then the over group, everybody, it's going to be probably as needed basis.
Right. And that's very important.
Correct. Because
that's how you're going to be able to come up with the statistics showing basically that the water is in accordance with the state.
Correct. And we just all need to take the same approach.
On the same page.
And get on the same page. Correct. Thank you.
Good deal. Okay. So any other questions? I'll go open up into public for any questions or comments. All right. Seeing it back, I'll do them. You want me to do them individually, Michael?
I think you can just,
Okay.
yeah.
As a third?
Individually fine.
One is fine.
Yeah, one's fine too.
Just doing it
Just
as
if
one?
you want to read,
Okay.
if someone just wants to read that bottom part there, then that could be a motion with all 3 of them on there.
There we go.
Okay, I move to approve the 3 agreements to continue the implementation of Sustainable Groundwater Management Act.
And I'll second that.
Mayor, can we just clarify real quick? You authorize the city manager to execute those?
I authorize the city manager to exercise the 3 agreements to continue the implementation of Sustainable Groundwater Management Act.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I'll second that.
All right. Go and vote electronically. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael. Item 11, items from the District 5 Stanislaus County Supervisor. He's not here tonight. Items from the city manager and staff. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to just add on to, and the one first thank Ms. Grace Person for showing up tonight. And this is a project that was near and dear to Catherine's heart. She went out and found the grant. It all really started with the T Street corridor. As you know, the T Street corridor without sidewalks, and if you're out there, 7:45 or 3:15, you can see what a mess that can be. And so that's how we were able to start this grant, was going with looking at the T Street corridor, and Catherine went out there and took some pictures. And really, it's about the safe movement of pedestrians in that particular area, especially students at certain times of the day. But then we were able to expand and look at all of our Newman corridors. And Catherine liked to say all corridors lead to the news project. And so we're going to really, that's how this expanded past just the T Street corridor to Newman corridors. And it really is a takeoff or an improvement upon our non-transportation, non-motorized transportation plan. So how do we really become a good pedestrian community, a bicycle community? And this is going to help us get there. And so we're very excited about it. And again, I appreciate Grace coming down tonight and talking to you about that. Ms. Darla Ellswick, she's a big player in our news project, and she coordinates a lot of stuff with the state through us. And so with the passing of Catherine, she's offered to help us with some things. And so I said, well, I think this project here, I think I could use your help on. And then she looked into it, and turned out she's a complete streets trained specialist. So she's going to fit in really well with what's going on out there. And we do have some storm drainage issues that are going on out there. And we've talked about that before with some localized flooding. So it's going to be nice to have her on the team. We have our engineering firms on the team. We have representatives for the PD on the team. We have representatives, I believe, from the school district that are on that community group. So we try to get, players that were involved and had a vested interest in those corridors. And so that's why, again, you see representatives from the PD and the school district and some of the other ones in there. So we will be, like I said, Councilmember McDonald, we will be advertising in our local paper. I know Allie is really going to be working on social media out there. So if there's any other things that you would like us to do, we got it on our website. We've reached out to school district, and they've been gracious and helped us with Peach Jar and some of the other things. So we're really trying hard to get people to participate in this and make it a real community project. So with that, we pretty much our projects are with the weather. There's not much going on in news, and some of the other ones that you saw today. We're wrapping up the. We wrapped up the Inyo intersection and then Inyo out to Canal School. If you haven't driven that full stretch there and driven down it it's nice. It's just another corridor that we can kind of split our traffic off on now, and you actually feel safe driving down Inyo past Saputo now and not worried about the rims on your car or even your bicycle tires, right? I mean, it's good to have. So, and then just lastly, we do have our Measure L project. We do have some other projects that are in the works right now, but I really have our engineering firm focused in on the Jensen corridor between the highway and Fig Lane. I really have them focusing in on that particular project so we can get that out to bid as soon as possible. And sounds like it might be ready for bid this summer. It may go into a little bit of the school year, but like I said, that's high on our priority. We've kind of prioritized that as our next project, because I know that's after the news and the nature park, I know that's a project that's near and dear to the council. And then that'll follow up with the Measure L, and then we have Main Street and Stanislaus, the last 2 blocks of Main Street, and then we have Stanislaus from the highway to Inyo. We'll be working on some design on those, but those probably are anticipated for construction in late 25, early 26. So it seems like a long ways away, but we all know time flies. 18, 24 months, we'll be here before we know it. And so with that, I can answer any questions the council may have.
On the Jensen one, do we have to petition the county to put a cross there for safety for the kids?
You mean to get across?
33.
We're trying not to encourage people to cross there.
Everyone do.
They do, but because it's not safe. Until there's a light or something, it's not going to be safe. So at this point, we're trying not to, but we're obviously looking for grants and some of the other things. But anything that would be done there would have to take Caltrans approval, and that's a snail's pace to do anything there. So, but that is something we're looking at as we design this project. How are we going to address that?
This is not so much a question, but just to piggyback on some of the information that you put out in reference to the project. It makes me feel so great that you embraced the concept that Kathy took into her heart. There's a saying, gone too soon. And she was the first one of my 8 years being around as council that looked in terms of more money, grants, you know what I'm saying, and projects that was going to nurture a city. And I'm so glad, Michael, that you have taken that into your concept and your speeches in terms of her projects. And she was very much into that, and I'll say again, she's just gone just a little bit too soon.
Yeah. It's funny. Her loving attitude, because she was a very loving person, made her people like her and enjoy her. And so when we got the Stancog, they wanted to give her money. And so, if Stancog, the mayor can tell you there's tens of millions of dollars that flow through there all the time. And so all we're just looking for the crumbs that fall off the table. Just give us some of that budget dust, 600,000 here, 500,000 there. They all add up. And part of that was that Canal School Road corridor. We needed an extra 600,000, and because she had a working relationship, we were able to get that community connection money to take that improvement all the way up to DeKern, Driscoll, DeKern and Merced there. So,
Thank you.
so yes. And then just lastly, and again, so if you're interested in the celebration of life ceremony for Catherine is this weekend, if you're interested in that, just let me know and I will send you a copy of the flyer. Okay.
Ally? Hello.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, council members. Not too much to report on my side other than basketball is right around the corner. We currently are practicing right now, Tuesdays and Fridays. Our first game will start February 10th, and we'll continue our season all the way throughout March 30th. Most games on Saturdays with a couple Sundays throughout our league time. With that, I can answer any questions that y'all may have.
Thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Chief Richardson?
Evening, Mayor, council members. Just a quick announcement. We have a new officer on the street, Officer Kilo. It's a 2-year-old Belgian Malinois that was purchased a while back. She completed her 8-week training. She's dual certified in apprehension and narcotics, so we plan on using her a lot. So other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Outstanding.
I'm looking at, excuse me, I'm looking at him. He's smiling when he said
Kilo.
I don't have anything of a financial nature to report tonight. Thank you.
Chief Bowen?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few things to talk about. We got a tabletop exercise, hazmat tabletop exercise coming up next week. So we'll have an interagency tabletop over there at Saputo just to review the plan and what's going on. So that'll be a fun time. I got an op area council meeting coming up. And if you got any emergency questions or needs, bring those to my attention and I'll get them brought up at the meeting. We're in week 3 of the Fire Academy. So we've got 3 candidates out of the 4 left. And so we're looking forward to seeing that. That's going to run probably close to June before we'll see them in the station. So we're providing support to the candidates as they go through the academy. Rivers and creeks all look good. The rain brought it up a little bit, but it's already back down. We're not anticipating any severe flooding. We do have pooling out there, standing water. So just want to encourage everybody, if you see standing water, pooling, to avoid it. Try not to drive through it. You never know what's underneath that water. Encourage you guys to reduce your speed. It doesn't take much speed to get those tires to float up on top of that water, just a ½ inch, and then you're hydroplaning. So other than that, those are the things I want to bring up. I can answer any questions you guys might have.
How is the program working, Chief, with the, have an in-house fire person that stays in the station? How's that program?
Actually, right now, we're doing really well. So all our seasonal firefighters have been laid off. So we have been lucky over the last probably 3 to 4 weeks. We've had what we call 3-0 staffing. So that means there's 3 people at the station ready to go at a moment's notice. So the program's doing great right now. When summer comes, we starve a little bit, but we make do. So no, stop by anytime. It seems to be staffed. You can knock on the door and there's probably someone there. But yeah, no, they're doing good. We're doing really well right now. So thank you for asking.
Pro Tem?
So Leroy and I are part of the 2+2 with the school district. We will be starting our meetings here soon again. That includes Mr. Holland, the superintendent, and 2 of the school board members. I'm pleased to report, I'm sure you already know this, that Justin Pruitt last night was named the new superintendent of NCO USD. After my first retirement, I worked for Justin for 6 years, and I can tell you that he puts the children of our community absolutely first before anything else. So I'm very happy that he is aboard and look forward to reigniting our collaboration with the school district going forward. That's all I have tonight.
Councilman McDonald?
I kind of piggyback on that too. I'm glad that they are able to put things in order with the district. It's important that we have leadership over there. And what I'm hoping is that Pruitt is one that does like sitting down and talking. And I'm hoping that the relationship between the district and the city becomes much closer so that we will have that growth mechanism here in the city to where if there's problems with the district, that we can sit down and try to resolve those issues. Other than that, thank you all for your participation this evening.
Thank you.
I have nothing tonight.
I have just one thing. Michael and I, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, Congressman Duarte reached out to us or his office reached out to us and wanted to meet with us to go over potential projects we were working on in our city and things we were looking to accomplish here. And so we were able to sit down with the Congressman's chief of staff and multiple of his office employees and go over some of our projects. And again, I appreciate your guys' involvement that with our city. And my almost 10 years here, we haven't had that. And so we appreciate that. And hopefully you guys find some funds out there for us along the way. With that, I have nothing else. Ask for adjournment. Got first here.
Second.
Adjourn. Thank you, guys.
Where are you headed? Adjourn.